Hello, welcome to my channel, Carissa Reads Books, where we talk about books, and more books. My name is Carissa, and today we're going to be talking about what I read in April and what I might possibly read in May. Pull up Goodreads here so I can see what I read, because I don't remember. Oh, yeah. All right, so the first two books I read in April that I actually do not own, I ended up getting from the library, but I've thought about buying recently, is Daughter of the Pirate King. I really actually enjoyed these two books. I had somebody tell me that when I did a book review on Instagram for it, somebody commented that a lot of creators don't really like it, which I don't understand why. It's like a really short little book, very enjoyable. I really liked. Here, let me just pull up the review so I can read it for you. I really liked the characters. I loved Alosa and how she was pretty much Captain Jack Sparrow, except as a girl. And love the enemies to lovers. If you have a book that's enemies to lovers, like drop it in the comments now because I'm gonna go read it. I love enemies to lovers. Um, but I thought the Daughter of the Pirate King and Daughter of the Silent Queen were both absolutely hilarious. Lots of adventure and just like super silly, but also really cool because I really liked some of the aspects of the story. I don't want to say too much because I'm not a spoiler person. I try not to share any spoilers because I know I don't like them. So I don't share those. I like the second book slightly better. Um, and that was just because the first book felt like it was a little slow for just a few pages. But the second book, well, both of them are very fast paced, but I felt like the second book was more fast paced. But, anyways, I ended up giving both 5 stars on Goodreads, and I definitely would recommend going to read those two. Alright, so the next book I read was The Queen's Resistance by Rebecca Ross. I absolutely love this book. I've read this book a lot of times. This is the second book in the Queen's Rising duology written by Rebecca Ross. And it's one of my it's got to be on my top 10 list. It is brilliant. I love the world building. I love the characters. A little fantasy romance for you if that's your thing, which is mine. And I just thought I always think it's so good every single time I read it. I know there's some people out there who don't like some of the aspects, but I think it's very friendly, age 13 plus, and obviously this is a 5 stars for me. I very much enjoy Ross's writing and her writing style. I have almost all her books. I'm waiting for A Fire Endless to go to paperback because I have A River Enchanted as paperback, and if I'm the one buying the books, like if you gift me like paperback mixed with hardcover, I'm not gonna care. If it's me buying the books, it has to be like either all paperback or all hardcover if it's a series. Which is part of like the Hunger Games back here. I bought that. And I could only find what's this one? The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes in hardcover, and so that still annoys me just a little because I bought all of them. But other than that, anyways, back to what I read in April. The next book I read after that in April was King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. I did a reading vlog for this when I was reading through, so I will link that below so you can go check that out. But overall, just to sum it up, I really enjoyed this book. I gave it a 5-star review. I know, I don't sound very tough. I keep giving 5-star reviews, but I promise you there are like 3 and 4-star reviews in this. They're just later on. Anyways, I really enjoyed this book. You can see all my full thoughts on the vlog I did for it. But the main thing I really enjoyed about this book was if you've read any of the other Grishaverse books, you know that Nikolai and Zoya do not have much of a background story, and neither do Nina. The first two are in Shadow and Bone. Nina is in the Six of Crows duology. And you know that they don't have much of a backstory. And so you can see that backstory in here. This book follows them. And I thought it was amazing. It's Leigh Bardugo. Come on, she's pretty good. She's on my scale, she's not Rebecca Ross, like I just talked about. And then Brandon Sanderson's like over them. But anyways, I definitely would recommend this one as well. My hair's decided to go all frizzy. Why? 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 Oh, that's why. For some reason, when there's a lot of moisture in the air, my hair gets like super frizzy on the sides sometimes. It looks like I might have fixed it. But so especially like when we visit more moist areas around the United States, like my hair's like. And one of my Christian nonfiction reads in April was Shepherd Looks at Psalm 23. I really enjoyed this book a lot. I also gave this 5 stars. It was very, very um, gospel centered. I enjoyed it. It had a lot of great reminders. Let me see if I can find one that I really like. There was a lot I liked in this book that really spoke to me, especially this month, and reminded me of God's truth. So I'd also recommend this one. So obviously, there's a lot of things I really liked about this book. The author uses his own experience shepherding, and looks at Psalm 23 with that. And anyways, what I'm about to read is a paragraph on page 155 that I remember reading, and I don't know, it's just that day. It was a good thing to think about for me. So the paragraph is, in looking back over my own life, in the light of love and care for my sheep, I can see again and again similar compassion and concern for me and my master's management of my affairs. There were events at the time seemed utter calamities. There were paths down which he led me that appeared like blind alleys. There were days he took me through which were well nigh black as night itself. But in the end, turned out for my benefit and my well-being. All right, another awesome book I read in April was, you're never gonna guess this one. No, never. If you follow me on Instagram, you know I was really hyped about this book because it was by Rebecca Ross. I read Divine Rivals. I got a pre-order, so it's a nice little signed copy too, which got me really excited. I ended up opening it in the car as well when I first got it because I had to go somewhere, but I wasn't the one driving, so I ended up bringing it with me because I was just so excited to look at it. I also have this wonderful art print of the main characters, Roman and Iris. That at all intrigues you to read the book? I don't know. I'll see art prints and I'll be like, cool, I should read that book, even though I know nothing about the book. So I do it quite frequently. But overall, I gave this one a 5-star review as well. I thought this was a really good, fast-paced fantasy book. And if you're just starting off reading fantasy, because it can be a lot. There's some that are like very hardcore fantasy books. And if that's not your thing, or you haven't worked your way up to it, it can be very confusing and intimidating. But I think this is a really, really good book to start off reading fantasy if you haven't really done much fantasy reading or would like to do more. And this also has a lot of people were saying enemies to lovers trope, which is true, I guess. I would say it's more of rivals to lovers that fall under the enemies to lovers category. But despite all that, it was really good. It was really, really good. So I also recommend going to check this one out. It's very interesting. Again, fast paced. I read it super fast. And I really enjoyed the story. I got into it, and I am ready for the sequel. That sequel needs to come out soon. I'm gonna go crazy if I can't read the next part. All right. If you can't do the time, don't do the crime. This next book I gave a 3-star review. It is this one, Addicted to Incarceration. I actually was taking a correctional processing class this semester. This was one of our little textbooks, but it was on Goodreads, so I was like, why not? And then I finished it in April. So I was like, well, we're gonna add it to Goodreads, add it towards reading challenge because I read it. Yeah, it's nonfiction. It's like reading an extended academic paper. I mean, if this is your thing, maybe if you can't tell, I am more of a fiction reader. Who knows? Except this book. I like a lot of Revolutionary War history, and that's one of the books. But other than that, yeah, This final book I started in April, but finished today, which is on May the 4th. Be with you. I'm a big Star Wars fan. After this, I shall be binging Star Wars till my little heart is content. But for now, I gotta show you a book I think is actually pretty overhyped, especially I'm not on Book Talk. I don't have TikTok. I don't really like TikTok, but I will make videos for Instagram and Pinterest, and then also add them as shorts on YouTube. I'm sure you've seen. But this book is quite frequently on book recommendations videos for all of them, and I think it's kind of overhyped. Like I gave it 4 stars, because it wasn't bad. It was good, but like, it's maybe it's like the whole series. I know this was like I don't know what else to say. But it's this book, City of Bones. I'm gonna get some hate for this, but I liked it. It was good. It's just not as good as all the hype for it. There's a lot of popular books out there that are like, yeah, I read it. It doesn't really deserve all the hype. It's good. It's not bad. It's like, I was about to use Kiss of Deception. I just realized I haven't finished that trilogy. But I've read the first 2 books, and I was neutral on it. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great either. That reminds me of Dance of Thieves. That is very hyped. I did not think it was that great of a book. It was good. It's just not as good as everybody was saying. So, but overall, I did like City of Bones. Again, I gave it 4 stars. I started off like really strong, and I was like, yeah, might be a 5-star read. But then like it got over halfway, and I was like, So, I felt like the ending was a little slow, kind of. I felt like it was very dialogue-y and less action-y, or less dialogue during the action. It was just like all talking. I was like, do something, do more. Don't just stand there and talk, or like walk across the room and talk. Like fight. I want a full-on fight. If you read it, you know what I'm talking about. But again, before you put your hate comments down there, I did like it. It just wasn't as good as the hype it's getting. That makes sense. So now we're on to the books I may or may not read in May. I am very much like a mood reader. Like I have some books on the shelf that I have not read that I bought a while ago, like a long while ago. But I just haven't gotten to reading it because something else just looked more exciting than that at the time. I'm sure it's good. I'll get to it eventually. It says I'm lying. Anyways, one of the books I would like to read is Sky Without Stars. I picked this one up at the bookstore. I don't remember what it was next to. But I was looking at that, and then I saw the really cool Eiffel Tower on a planet right here, and I was like, what's this? And I ended up picking up this book, reading the little blurb on the back, and realizing, hey, this might actually be one I like. It has a lot of revolution. I believe said something about assassination somewhere. Okay. In the comments, let me know if you think my theory is correct. If the book has assassin in the title, or assassins anywhere, it's probably going to be good. But especially if it's in the title. Like, I have not read a book yet that has assassin in the title that I have not enjoyed. Another book I'm hoping to finish because I started reading is The Alloy of Law by Brandon Sanderson. I got a little caught up trying to finish City of Bones. And I just wanted City of the Bones out of the way so I can focus on this because I've almost all the other books. I'm missing the newest one, The Lost Metal. But these are books I haven't read yet either. And I really enjoyed the Mistborn trilogy, and this is like a part of it, but not a part of it. It takes place hundreds of years later. I obviously haven't gotten very far. Actually, this is top. But you saw nothing. I really, really enjoy it so far. I'm not that far in, so I can't wait to read more and possibly the rest of it. So maybe I can get through the other 2 books and this month. We shall see. I usually try to read at least 1 Christian book a month, and I absolutely love Amy Carmichael. She is my missionary hero, so I'd like to read Fragments That Remain that she wrote. I am actually really excited to read this. I bought this all the way back in December, and I was like, I'm gonna read it right away, which usually means at least a few months on my shelf before I finally get to reading it. But I'm very excited to read this. She has been my Christian hero for years. So if you don't know who she is, even if you're not Christian, go look her up because she's just extremely awesome. She was an extremely awesome, godly woman. And I wish I could have met her. If you watched the vlog with King of Scars, you know I went on a little trip to the bookstore. That's where I got Sky Without Stars. And I also got Persuasion by Jane Austen because I didn't have this book. And I also haven't read it yet. I've only read Pride and Prejudice. And okay, my favorite classic's actually Dracula, not Pride and Prejudice. But Pride and Prejudice is pretty good. I really just like the banter and stuff between Elizabeth and Darcy. And I really like that. So I hope Persuasion is kind of like that. Obviously, it's not the same story. But I'm excited to read this one as well because I really liked Pride and Prejudice. I was about to add like 2, 3 other books that are on the shelf, but then I realized, you know, I may or may not get to them. Like I said earlier, I'm a little bit of a mood reader sometimes. Like if I'm not in the mood to read it, I probably will not. There's some books on the shelf that I'd also like to reread. Maybe like A River Enchanted. I believe The Gilded Wolves is somewhere up here. Oh, it's behind my head. It's right there. I see it. Okay. And then I've also, ever since I first read it, I've wanted to reread the Inheritance game series because I actually really liked that. It reminded me a lot of the Weston game, and that just brought back a lot of nostalgia for me. So I may or may not reread those books as well. All right, thank you so much for joining me today and getting to listen to talk about what I read this April. And let me know down in the comments below if you'd like me to do another one for May so you can see what I've read. And if I actually did read all the books from May I just showed you, there's a pretty good chance I'll probably read half of them. Maybe. We'll see. Anyways, if you like this video, go like, subscribe to my channel, hit the thumbs up button, share it. And yeah, go check out my Instagram, Pinterest, and Goodreads, where I make more content and review books. I will link those all below so you can go check them out. And again, I hope this was fun for you. And I can't wait to see you guys next time. All right, bye guys.